Hey digitizers, this is a quick supplemental video, hopefully quick, supplemental to my previous video, CZUR SHINE ULTRA Setup and Test. On my previous video about the CZUR SHINE ULTRA, I received some helpful comments from a YouTube viewer named Claire that addressed some of the challenges and concerns that I had expressed in that video and gave me some tips and suggestions. Let's go through these. Firstly, many thanks to Claire. Your constructive feedback is greatly appreciated. By the way, Claire said that she owns, I'm assuming she is the pronoun, she owns a different CZUR product, the Aura. Now, let's go through her suggestions. Her first suggestion, number one, in the settings, you can disable the finger cots and use your own fingers. It's better as you can be more precise of what portion of paper you are covering and you can pull the page better. That's a really good tip. Let's look at that in the software. Let me just switch to the center screen here and start the CZUR software. This is the latest version of the software I just updated yesterday, November 11th. Okay, so if I go into scan mode, clicking scan, and I'm in curved book mode, there is a little wrench icon. I can go into settings and I can change finger removal from with finger cots to without finger cots. So that would just look for my fingers. And it mentions a warning about make sure you don't have long nails and your fingers are a different color than the book page and that sort of thing. Okay. That is a great tip. However, it is only available in curved book mode. If you're in one of the other scanning modes, like flat paper, go into the settings, there is no finger or cot removal option on flat paper, nor is there such a option on combined sides mode. Let's put a pin in that and come back to that. Claire's next tip was use a small book under the part of the book that has prominent curvature because of the small number of pages in order to bring it to the same level as the other part. Agreed completely, and I alluded to that in my previous video. As I said, the thickness of whatever book or block you have under that very curved side of the book would have to be changed as you work through the book. Towards the middle of the book, you probably won't need anything. And then when you get to the last quarter or third of the book, you'll need the spacer now underneath the right side. This is certainly a usable tip, but it's something that I did not anticipate needing. I guess this is a case of setting expectations. My expectations were that I wouldn't need to do that kind of fiddling because I thought the software would auto-correct for the incorrectly perceived left-right page asymmetry caused due to a foreshortening of pages that were not held parallel to the camera scanner. In other words, it's great there's a workaround, but I was under the apparently incorrect assumption that this would be taken care of automatically by the page flattening algorithm. Okay, next, Claire's tip number three. Watch tutorial videos on the CZUR website and YouTube channel on how to use the software. You can apply batch changes of all the pages of just the left pages or just the right, and that way you can cut out or cut clear or whiten parts that you don't want to have artifacts. You can also batch resize and turn them all pages into precise format A3, A4. That's a great tip. I admit that I have more to learn about this software, but buried in that tip is another problem. The only specific page sizes I can see in this software are A3 and A4. And although I am a huge fan of ISO 216 paper sizing standard, unfortunately here in North America, we don't use A3 and A4. We use letter size and legal size. So in that respect, The software is missing the needs of the North American marketplace. And yes, I know that A4 is very close to letter size, but that misses the point. The point was we wanted precise page sizes and not approximate page sizes. Now, alternatively, I wish the software would let me specify a custom page size when outputting a PDF. Then I could specify the equivalent of letter size, exactly 8.5 by 11 inches. Claire's next tip was, number 4, it is better to scan big books, excuse me, it is better to scan big books page by page, and in some cases it is the only option if the book is very big. Choose the third scanning option and select yourself the scanning area. Keep the book at a 90-degree angle, and if you scan part of the other page, whiten it out with the cutting tool in the editing process. Okay, that is a wonderful tip. That is, if you can't fit the entire book open and using the curved book mode in the software, scan just one side or the other. And when she says use the third option, she means the combined sides option in the software. And then you can scan the left side and the right side, and they will end up together on one scanned image as if they were scanned at the same time. This combined sides feature is handy, especially for scanning, say, like a two-sided ID, like a driver's license, where you want to end up with both sides of the document on one scanned image. But there are some problems in using this for large books, which is what the suggestion was suggested for. Remember that pin I told you to put in back in tip number 1 about we don't have finger cut or finger removal from anything other than curved book? Yeah, that means that if you're using the combined sides mode, you have no ability to remove fingers or finger cuts. Also, there's no page flattening. So you cannot hold the pages flat with your fingers because you don't want your fingers to appear in the scan. And you have none of that sweet, sweet page flattening algorithm. So your choices are either see your fingers while holding the page flat or end up with a curved page. Claire's next tip, number 5. For the glare of glossy pages, the Aura, that's the other scanner model that she has some lateral lights which the Shine hasn't. Watch some videos of the Aura to understand how they work. After that, try to imitate them using a lamp or the smartphone's flashlight. Experiment with lateral lighting. Turn off the upper light and the glare will disappear. Okay, I did look at how the lights are arranged on the Aura. Instead of 2 point lights with a camera in between, the Aura has a light bar formed into a U shape that is wrapped around the camera. Now, I have no idea if that arrangement helps or if you just end up with a U-shaped glare instead of 2 dots of glare. Regardless, I can't easily replicate that, at least that exact lighting arrangement, but I did try experimenting with a bunch of different lighting setups. And here's what I learned. Let me switch over to the software again. Okay, and here we can see the 2 light dots glaring on here. I'm going to turn off the light of the device itself. And I'm going to turn on a couple of lights I've set up here in my office. Now, books like my coffee table book are very prone to glare, especially with those big photo pages like the cover or some of these internal pages that are mostly photographs. And when I say glare, what I mean is an unwanted reflection, a direct reflection of the light source. Now, here's what I figured out while playing around with the book and trying to eliminate glare. As you set up your lighting, As you set up your lighting, take a mirror here's a mirror, and place it on the book or in the scanner target zone, and move it around to the edges and corners while looking at the live view in the software. If you can see your light source directly reflected in the mirror, that's a problem. That means that a shiny page will be acting like a mirror and will bounce the light directly into the camera, creating that unwanted glare. To fix this, move the light. I found that the best light is a light at a very low angle. So you can see over here, let me just shift back to the main camera. You can see over here, this light is at a very low angle. So the light coming in, if it bounces off, is bouncing off in this direction, sort of towards where I'm sitting, as opposed to bouncing off directly into the camera. Let me go back to software and show you an example of bad glare. So here's the mirror. You can see I'm moving the mirror around. If this light was, say, located here, obviously you can see it in the mirror. And even if I move the mirror, not surprising, you can see a bunch of glare on the book in that area. So the mirror trick is just a real quick way to anticipate where you're going to have glare problems. I put two lights on here because I felt that the light at the far end was not going to be sufficient to capture this edge. I thought the light was falling off and this bottom edge was, the furthest edge from the light was getting a bit darker. So I added this other light to try to just even out the lighting in general. And here you can see I've ended up with a fairly even lighting for the book. But again, if I go into combined sides mode, which I'm in right now, let's get this object out of the way. I don't have any way in the details to select anything other than A4 or A3 and how to combine them vertically or horizontally. There's nothing about removing fingers or finger cots. So simulating a page scan, if I was doing a page scan like this, and the other trick that I found was I have a black target here just to blacken out the page. So I can hold this and you can see the auto targeting, hopefully if I do this right, auto targeting gets only the left page, but it's not going to fix the curvature. So if I hit scan and then move to the right page, put some more black blocking in here. And hit scan a second time. I've scanned the pages and obviously I got them in the wrong order. I've got them left, right instead of up, down. But as you can see, the curvature is very prominent and not corrected. So that's it for Claire's tips. But let me mention a couple of other limitations I found with the CZUR software. Although you can replace and rescan a bad image, if you notice there's an image you don't like, I don't see any way to insert a scan in the stack of images. So let's say you get to the end of a book and then you realize that just as you were flipping pages, you missed a page and you want to just go back and rescan that or scan that missed page and insert it where it belongs. Easy, right? Unfortunately, I don't see any way to insert a scan into the stack of scans. You can replace, if we go to the software, there is an option here to replace, which if you click that, it takes you back to scanning. But there is no way to scan an image and put it back into the stack or list of images. Now, the free NAPS 2 software that I have mentioned in a previous video and that I really enjoy using for my book scanning It does let you scan and then drag and rearrange the pages into any, or the page images into any order that you want. So if you missed a page, you can always just scan it, drag it, move it where it belongs into the image stack. That's a feature that I wish CZUR would add to this software. And that reminds me of another problem, which I mentioned in my last video. Because the CZUR scanner does not use or does not appear as a WIA or TWAIN interface device, it's not recognized by third-party software like NAPS2. There is a workaround. You could use the CZUR software to capture all of your image scans and then import all of those images into NAPS2. But personally, I would prefer to just work directly in NAPS2 and have the device be recognized as a WIA or TWAIN interface device in that third-party software. Another problem I found is that the software doesn't handle different screen ratios very well. I know that sounds kind of weird, but let me show you what I mean. Let me show you my full desktop. So I have my desktop arranged with the left and right monitors arranged vertically, so you get this sort of H configuration. And here in the center, you can see the CZUR software. Now you notice all I can do is minimize or maximize. I cannot make it an intermediate window. It's more of a tablet type interface. I think it's using the Windows Modern interface, it's called. To change to another monitor, I can grab the bar, or grab the top bar and move it to another monitor, say over to the left here. And if I double click, it then will go full screen. Let me move it back to the center. So I can move monitors, okay, fine. But you'll notice on the skinny monitor, already I'm having some problems where the menu is covering up my scan. And there's no way to adjust. Oh, maybe there is. There's no easy way that I see to adjust those. You can move around slightly the scanned image, but not substantially. So here I can move it around, but when we're over on this left monitor, that doesn't really help me. I always seem to end up with something being covered. But more importantly, watch this. When I hit scan, if I'm going to go into another scan, the window that opens is bleeding over two monitors. So on the left monitor, you can see it ends sort of, if I point on the book, you can see it ends right about here. And then the rest of it is on my middle monitor. And there's no way to fix this because there's no windowing edge controls in the software. Now I realize this bug won't affect many users. I just thought I should mention it in case you're one of those people that have multiple monitors like me with different ratios. You might run into a bit of a problem. Okay, so that's it for my setup or my supplementary setup of the CZUR Shine Ultra. Having said all that, I still intend to give away this scanner to one of my viewers, in a random draw. For the details on how you can enter that draw, look for a video on this channel, and I will have complete instructions on how you can enter the draw to win this scanner. Once I'm done playing with it, I'm going to give it away. You probably want to subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I release the video with all the instructions to enter the draw. Thanks for watching, everyone.